Hey babes, welcome to Stoned Horny, the podcast all about exploring and expanding your knowledge in sex and cannabis with experts and friends. I'm your host, Hayley Herms, and today we're talking about the taboo of sex work in Asian culture and living a double life between sex work and a 9-to-5 job with our special guest, Playboy model and OnlyFans star, Princess April.
Oh my God.
Let's get into it. Hello. I am so excited to have you here. First off, I'm so happy that you are down to get into the taboo world, because essentially that's what this show is all about, is sex and cannabis, which is so taboo no matter what culture you're in, I feel like these days still. But we're just going to dive right in. And I would love for you to tell me about that, because when I asked you topic ideas, that was one that you yourself were passionate about. So I personally would love to learn more about that. And then also, of course, have our listeners know more as well.
Yes.
So yeah, let's just dive in. What is it like, the tabooness in Asian culture? And is it specifically all Asian cultures, or just one group? Because I know Asian breaks down to a lot of different groups.
I feel like it really depends on what social media you're at. There could be cliques of friends, and I think this also applies to any other culture, to be quite honest. I do have a group of friends. They're all top Asian content creators based in the United States, and we have some friends in the UK and Thailand that we traveled with. So I've been collabing with them on major trips. Our recent one was in Bali. What else did we? I saw them pretty recently. Oh, Vegas.
Yes.
And just a bunch of other cities, so we can work together and all that stuff. So I love being in that community where we would just create content together. We all grew up traumatized, which is so perfect.
Okay.
But my group specifically, we're all chill, traumatized content creators.
Trauma bonding.
Yeah, trauma bonding for real. But
I feel that's a lot of content creators, no matter what field of content you're creating. Yeah. We're all just traumatized in some sort, where we're okay, we cannot have a 9-to-5 job anymore.
Yeah.
But as we'll get into later, you've seemed to manage to balance both. But we'll get into that in a second. But back to what you were saying. So you went to Bali and Vegas because Vegas was avian or?
Actually, no, we went to Vegas for a hentai convention.
Ooh. Oh my God.
An 18+ anime convention.
Okay.
And I think it's the first one in Vegas, but they had multiple hentai conventions beforehand that I've never really heard of, to be quite honest. But some of the girls in my community are in anime stuff. So I mean, but
what's a hentai convention like?
Honestly, I don't think they're that grown yet. They're not as established as Anime Expo that you might.
But do you think it's cooler because it's not as established? It's more a cult following.
I think it's cooler because there's no kids.
Okay.
And then I just don't want to have parents and just have their hands cover their kids' eyes while looking at adults and anime cosplay that are 18+. There weren't that many tits out. I mean, we were just cosplaying, and the group that I did it with is called the Asian Angels.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah, we're trying to be Gloomy Girls or whatever. Just these group of girls that create stuff together.
Okay.
So we have a certain niche.
Okay.
But the taboo-ness of it, we get these insults, the racist ones, all the fucking time. And we just kind of I think we experience more trauma from our parents that it doesn't really hurt as much coming from the audience.
So you think sex work is more frowned upon by Asian parents than other ethnicities?
Yeah, most definitely. And I know some of us have family that knows, and we all deal with it. I feel all of us have dealt with it in a different way, but it's all healthy.
Yeah.
And I love these girls so much, and I can't wait to do more future collabs with them. So the taboo-ness of Asian culture, it's facing war, for example, of the Vietnam War specifically. Okay. These women are being R-word by like the soldiers, and like same thing with like the children.
You can say that word if you're comfortable with it.
Oh my gosh.
But you don't have to. But just let you know, there's no like, we don't have any. You could swear, cuss, or whatever.
Oh, okay,
But
cool.
so I'll just kind of rephrase it. If you're not familiar, in the Vietnam War, women were being raped and all these kinds of fun things, and by fun I mean horrible, horrible things were going on in Vietnam, and especially around the sex workers and just regular women and children. It didn't just extend to women, it also extended to children as well, from my own research. So sorry, keep going into that.
I mean, it's just like since like the 70s, it's just like Asian women are glamorized to be submissive, giving, and all that stuff. That's just because we went through war, and anything that people like were traumatized by a certain timeline, it gets passed down to children actually. So we get like their old habits and all that stuff. So like even still to this day, where women now, Asian women are like looked at as submissive. So we do get like fetish size, and like for my group specifically, we don't care.
Okay.
Because we profit off of it. I think the people that are a little bit more emotional, they can say like their piece like on Twitter or whatever. I think a great example is Ahigao. Do you know what that is?
Mm-mm.
It's like the Belle Delphine face, where it's like
oh
two eyes roll back.
Yes, I I do know that face.
Yeah, so it's like totally fucking racist.
If
anyone else like did it, like Belle Delphine, she's not Asian, she's doing it.
Okay.
So like, we just there's some girls that are like trying to take it back. It's kind of like similar to other cultures where they try to.
Well, because I've seen women of all races do it, and I didn't know it was specific to Asian culture.
It's racist because the actual background is that it's, well, it was like a pedophile, like Japanese artist that like used that type of artwork, using those facial expressions, especially. It's glamorizing like child rape. There's like an original movie about it, and I've seen it, and it's fucking scary. And it's about like a little girl who lost her mom, where she was eaten by rats, and then she gets sent to a circus, and then she has to do all these crazy things with these like circus people that are like totally physically abnormal, and she would get raped by them. So like that's what Ahigao is based from. And then the people that are non-Asians that are using that face don't know the history of it and see why it's offensive to other cultures. I use it sometimes, but because we're Asian.
That's to you can reclaim that. It's
we can like, reclaim it.
Being black, you can say the N-word, but no one else should be saying it.
Yeah, exactly. And then like it would just like reform to other stuff. There's always going to be, I feel like, woke moment. I feel like it's always going to happen. It's always going to evolve. Not evolve, but like maybe like a different version of it per generation. It's always going to like pass down.
Almost, I feel like I agree, because I think people kind of like put a different spin on it. So it's marketed something different than what it really is. Because I think it's so interesting. I would have never known this, because I've been requested to make that face before. I haven't done it. That's just I didn't feel comfortable, but I also had no idea until this very moment.
It's okay if you did it. You didn't know.
No, I didn't, because I genuinely was like, oh, this is not cute for me. This is not. But I do know other content creators that aren't Asian that are doing it. And like, thank you for sharing that, because now I can share that with them.
Yeah.
So I think what you were saying, what like to touch back on what you said of like, you do it to your advantage because it works for you. But if other people are going to even know about it, they should at least know the history of the things that they're doing, and not just like blindly do it. And so, but I definitely think that like it works for you, because I think it's different if you want to make money off of it and profit from it. I feel like maybe that's like a form of reparations. But when people just want you to do things like that, I feel like that's exploitation. And
would I do it on here?
I mean, you can do it. Like feel free. I mean, if you're listening to the podcast and you want to see the video right now, go to the YouTube Stoned and Horny, and you can see this full interview on video.
Oh my God,
and
hi YouTube.
Yes, we're everywhere. But definitely you can check that out and check April out. But so overall, in like when it comes to like the taboo things of the Asian culture, do you ever, how do I say this? Do you educate other like girls in your industry that may not know, that are not Asian?
Sometimes. If it comes up, if I hang out with like more like newbie sex workers, then yes, I do. If the topic is brought, like let's say, oh, why am I getting hate for doing this? Oh, it's because you're doing this, sis.
Yeah.
But the girls that I hang out with currently, like, I think we just all relate too much that we don't even have to touch that topic really, unless we're in a red pill podcast together talking about war.
Yes.
But yeah, our trauma just basically like.
So essentially you're reclaiming the taboo-ness.
Yeah.
And like, I think it's really nice how you kind of said how you will tell like other sex workers and you're like, it's okay if you've done this, but like, let's grow from here. Because I think cancel culture is so dangerous.
It's so fucking dangerous.
It's so dangerous.
It's so scary.
And I think there's some things where it's like, yes, like this, like without a doubt, like needs to be canceled. Okay. Yeah. But then there's some people who really don't know. And if we just cancel them and don't help them grow, then they'll never know. So I think like this is just like a great, like, thank you for, you know, letting people know and in a growthful way. But I also think it's a learning moment for the show. And if you don't know, I'm so sorry. Can you say what the face is again?
Ahigo? I don't think I'm pronouncing it correctly. It's like looking up, crossing your eyes with your tongue out. It's just like sexual expressions that are
it's based in racism and rape and war and all those things, and you would never know.
I mean, there are certain ways. Like sometimes you can do like a regular sex face, and then some girls can say it's ahigo, but it's really hard to like. It's just. I don't know how to even.
The more you know. No, you did it. You explained it great, and now other people will know.
It just got overwhelming.
Yes. Oh no. Take it. Take a breath. Take whatever you grab. Some water. Hit the pen. It's a heavy subject. That's a very heavy subject. We're gonna get into lighter subjects, but that is a heavy subject, and I definitely like thank you for coming on here and talking about it because it is hard, and there's so many different things that play into taboo-ness and only you can speak on your culture, you know. So it's great to hear it from, what do they say, the horse's mouth itself, you know.
I don't know metaphors like that.
It's a phrase. You got to hear it from the horse's mouth or something like that. Yes.
Horse smells are pretty big.
I know. They got the tea. The next question is like, you don't have to tell us but what is your other like 9-to-5 job? How do you manage, like, I want to get into the details of like how that happened, like how the merging and So
I was a medical coder. I have articles on myself.
Oh, wow.
Medical coder. So like just coding for like doctors basically.
Smart cookie.
I actually did like also grow up multitasking a lot. Like doing 2 jobs while like going to school. I'm always used to having more than one thing. So always building multiple stream incomes. And I would always think about what else I can do passively. But the work as modeling is kind of passive, but it's still a lot of work. It's just like coming home from my 9-to-5. I would just try to hit the gym and then be always on my phone.
Okay. And so that's what you're still doing?
Yeah.
Do you think you'll ever quit being a medical coder, or do you just like enjoy it and it's like not easy money, but you've been doing it so long, you might as well not stop?
I think I want to rack up a little bit more in my retirement.
Yeah, that's so smart. And I think like it's great because I think people, I hate saying at your age. So like, I don't want to, because you're not old. You're not fucking old by any means. But just for the the ambiance, because I'm 27 and most of my friends are in their mid 30s. And to me, especially because I don't have family, I can't like fall back on anybody, and I am a full-time entertainer, as you may. So no one's like putting into my retirement account. It's like, what do I have to land on? You know, we don't know if Social Security will exist in 20, 30 years still. It's a really scary time. And I feel like people like, I want to say our age, even in that range of are like not even thinking about that, because even my friends.
Wait, hold on. Not thinking about retirement?
No,
Oh my
absolutely not. Absolutely not. Whenever I bring it up, people like it just like flies over their head. And so they're just like, oh, they don't. I just feel like we in high school and just our school systems in America, no one like is you barely, they didn't even teach you how to write a check. They're not going to tell you how to save for retirement.
Yeah.
And so I'm like now at 27 thinking about like, how am I going to start saving for my retirement of like, oh, I could buy a property. So then by the time I'm, if I'm 65, 75, 85, I can sell it. And then that can be my retirement money. Or do I open up like a Charles Schwab account and Charles Schwab and do an S&P? And like, these are things like a lot of people, if you're listening to this and you're between 20 and 45, and you don't know what we're saying right now, I would encourage you to start Googling all of this, because it's so important, because you need at least like, what was it? Like $1 million for your retirement. And it's like, people don't even have 500, statistically, people barely have like $500 in their savings account right now. How the fuck are you going to save $1 million for your retirement? People are not thinking that long
You're
run.
gonna need more than $1 million.
Exactly. And so I think that's like so smart for you to mention, because no one is thinking about retirement. And I know this is kind of like not like sex and cannabis related, but you should definitely be thinking about your retirement, especially though if you are a sex worker or a model or any of that nature. So that's a great point. And I like that you said that, because medical coding, do they pay into your retirement?
Yeah, so well, you don't think about retirement if you have pension. Do you know
I don't even know what a pension is.
It's just like the amount of years that you put into a company.
Okay.
They would pay that amount after. So it's just like you don't even have to have a 401. It's just pension. It's just the amount of years that they would pay you for like service. It's more for like government stuff.
Okay.
Like government jobs. But yeah, that's why I have my 9 to 5.
Of course.
Because of my retirement.
So do people at your 9 to 5 know about your other work? Or are you like total Hannah Montana in it?
No, I definitely told like a few of them.
Okay.
And it is a little uncomfortable sometimes when they try to bring up the topic. It's totally like, I mean, they know the boundary of when it's appropriate to say or talk about it, like lunchtime or during our break, but like it shouldn't be like it shouldn't be our whole conversation between, like, let's say you were my coworker, you shouldn't always talk about sex work to me. Like it's discrimination if they try to like out me.
Yes.
Because I don't post pictures of myself in like uniform or do it at a building. I'm not trying to like get myself like
fired. Yeah, understandably. Do you think they'll ever find out? Because I know we have a mutual friend,
most
Kazumi,
definitely.
And Kazumi's parent, like Kazumi is like obviously one of the biggest people in porn right now, and she has literal billboards in LA. Her parents live in LA, and they don't know what she does still.
That's a controversy.
And like, I think that's so wild that they've never stumbled upon her billboard or an Instagram ad or anything. So do you think that one day, like, not that someone will out you, but that it'll become like known at your work, and like, are you ready for that?
I've already dealt with it multiple times.
Okay, so people
forms.
found out before you told them.
Yeah, I've been through like multiple scenarios with that, and it was a little difficult in the beginning, but I've gotten used to handling it. I don't think people really talk about getting found out because they usually kind of disappear after that.
Okay.
But it depends.
You mean like get fired or move or quit, or like what do you mean by disappear?
Well, okay. Well, it turns out like, yeah, they disappears. There's a lot of girls that just disappear after they get dogs because they can't like handle it.
Oh, okay. So like meaning like girls that do sex work or modeling and then they get found out and then they're
Sometimes
so
they
scared
just
they don't
stop.
come back to work.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of them.
Oh my God. Okay, that's not what now I get what you I
Well,
didn't.
hold on.
Wow.
This is a
I believe that
9 to 5
though.
one. Like if I have, because I have a 9 to 5, if people found out, they it's not like I'm going to quit work.
Okay. And if you got fired, you could obviously sue, right? For
Yeah.
discrimination.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be big bucks. So they
Have you
try.
ever had to have like a conversation with your coworkers like please don't talk about this, or like are you not comfortable with saying that, or like have you had to set boundaries at work? Because
Sometimes it depends on how personal the questions get. Like
Yeah.
I'm just like, excuse me, you do not talk to me about sex.
Yeah.
That's like, it's gross.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, I get it. I'm a little attractive for you. Like you're attracted to me.
Do you think is it women and men, or is it mostly like men that are doing the weird questions?
No, my team is full of men, so it's kind of hard to say.
I could understand that. That's
Yeah.
a field where male dominated.
Yeah, but I do have like some female coworkers, and they don't know.
And they don't know.
No.
Okay, so most of these men have just been like spies and trying to find you on the internet.
Yeah, and it's weird when they talk about it, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, please do not.
Because it gets like not only like weird in terms of like you found me, it's like, oh, here's what I do, but now you have to almost, I like to tell, because there's guys that I'm dating, and although I'm not inherently doing porn or things, I've obviously done modeling with like my nipples out or like sexier things, and I have been in instances where I like to be like a sex symbol, but I'm not a sex object.
Yeah.
So I can be a sexual human, express myself sexually, but I don't want you to talk to me like sex is the only thing I know, I do, I breathe, I am. Like
Yeah.
we can talk about something other than sex. And so I definitely like I feel that where there's a huge difference between like having sexuality and owning it, whether it's a part of your work or not. Like even if you're a school teacher and you want to go on your Instagram and be sexy and like, you know, wear a little bikini, or maybe you want to like tan nude or something, I feel like that shouldn't have to affect your career and also the way people
Does a
treat
little
you.
bit.
But it does. But it does. Oh yeah.
They're teaching kids, so that's like a different part. If you're working as a teacher, it depends on what kind of teacher, or if you're a professor or teacher, the age group.
Yes.
My age group is like, we're older.
Yes.
So like if you're working in like an environment with kids and the parents find out, you have to deal with the consequences of that. So like for me, I think I plan my consequences ahead, that there's like, I mean, I'm not dealing with like new people all the time. I'm not like sexually open like at work. Like I'm
Okay.
not like, oh my God, look at me, I'm an OnlyFans model at work. And like, no, it's not
Yes.
like that. I totally don't have any makeup on. I don't wear slip-on dresses.
But
like
even
this.
then, I feel like even you could come up in sweats and guys still.
they do still like objectify me.
Yeah.
In a way, but like I totally turn it down.
Do you have a work uniform?
No, but we do have like dress code.
Okay, exactly. So I'm sure they're like, oh, I wonder what she'd come in if like we didn't have a dress code. Because guys are fucking horn dogs.
I mean, like we do have like some like work events, but like I still try to dress as modest as I can. It doesn't really matter, to be quite honest. Like,
Okay.
I just kind of do.
Because you should still be respected no matter what you're wearing.
Yeah, exactly.
And do you think if you ever got like, if things went like really popped off with modeling and stuff, that you would quit or just still try to balance both?
I think I would still try to balance both.
Okay. You have a nice head on your shoulders.
Thank you.
I love that for you. And
Thank
is
you.
there anything else before we're going to wrap it up in a couple minutes, but is there anything else you want to kind of touch on or have any messages for people? Or do you have any messages for girls leading double lives like you, Hannah Montana-ing?
Okay. Well, it's a lot to handle. Just make sure you go to your emotional support system. You're loved. And you're totally fucking killing it. Not a lot of people have like 2 major incomes, like double lifing like Hannah Montana. You can still have like, it's just being a boss ass bitch. You're doing great.
And having boundaries.
Yeah. And set that for yourself.
Yeah.
For sure.
And having a good community. It sounds like you have a great community around you.
Yeah.
And you guys are all growing together, learning with each other. I love that. It's so fun. It was so interesting to hear the balance of that. And yeah, I love that.
Thank you.
And so can you tell everybody where they can find you?
You can find me on, well, I have all of my socials on xoprincessapril.com.
Everywhere. xoprincessapril.com. Everywhere. Across the board?
Yeah, I mean, it has like all my socials, like my Instagram, Twitter. I'm mostly active on Instagram and OF and Playboy.
Yay! Well, then that concludes today's episode of Stoned and Horny. Thank you so much for listening. Remember, if you want a chance to join the conversation, to follow us on Instagram at Stoned and Horny Podcast and leave a comment. Don't forget to follow us on all our socials to stay updated with Stoned and Horny news. Also, you guys, I started a TikTok and it's Stoned and Horny Podcast, but of course, TikTok, the O's are zeros. So still Stoned and Horny Podcast, just make the O's zeros. My name is Hayley Herms, and I'll see you on next week's episode of Stoned and Horny. I hope you guys all have a great week. Bye!